Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our discussion today. We are here to talk about a very interesting question. Should schools start later in the morning? This topic is important for students, their families, and also for the teachers and school staff. We have two guests with us today to share their views. First, Ms. Sarah Chen, a high school teacher who believes later start times are a good idea, and Mr. Kenji Tanaka, a school administrator, who has some concerns about making this change. Let's begin our discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Good morning. I believe that starting school later in the morning would be very helpful for our teenage students. The main reason is simple. Teenagers need more sleep, and their bodies are naturally set to sleep later and wake up later. Many students today are not getting enough sleep because they have to wake up very early for school. This is often called chronic sleep deprivation, and it can cause many problems. When students get enough sleep, we see many positive changes. For example, they can concentrate better in class, and their mood often improves. They are less likely to feel tired or stressed during the school day. Good sleep also helps reduce health risks. For instance, it can lower the chances of problems like obesity or feeling very sad, like depression. From an academic point of view, the benefits are also clear. Schools that have tried later start times often report that more students come to school regularly. Students may also get better grades because they are more awake and ready to learn. They might participate more in class discussions and feel more engaged with their subjects. I have seen students struggle to keep their eyes open in early morning classes. It's hard for them to learn effectively when they are so tired. Therefore, I think it's very important to think about the well-being of our students. Changing school's start times to be later is a key way to support their health and their ability to learn. It's about creating an environment where they can truly succeed.
Good morning, Mr. Evans, Ms. Chen. I understand Ms. Chen's points about the importance of sleep for teenagers, and I agree that it is a serious concern. However, changing school start times is a very complex issue, with many practical challenges. It's not as simple as just moving the school day forward by an hour or so. First, let's think about parents' work schedules. Many parents have jobs that start early in the morning. If schools start later, it could create big problems for them in terms of arranging childcare or getting to work on time. Then there's transportation. School bus schedules are carefully planned. Changing these schedules would be a huge task and could be very expensive. It might mean needing more buses or paying drivers for different hours. We also need to consider after-school activities. Many students participate in sports, clubs, or have part-time jobs. If the school day ends later, there will be less time for these important activities in the afternoon. This could mean some activities have to be cut, or students might get home even later in the evening. Another concern I have is whether students would actually get more sleep. It's possible that if school starts later, teenagers might just stay up even later at night. If that happens, then we haven't solved the problem of sleep deprivation at all. The current system, while perhaps not perfect, has been developed over many years. It tries to balance the needs of students, families, school staff, and the wider community. We must be very careful before making such a big change.
Ms. Chen, Mr. Tanaka raises some important practical issues, like parent schedules and transportation. How could schools and communities try to solve these problems if school start times are moved later?
Those are valid concerns, and they would need careful planning. For parent schedules, perhaps local businesses could consider offering more flexible start times for their employees. Some communities have also explored staggered work schedules to help with this. Regarding transport, while challenging, it's not impossible to adjust bus routes and timings. We could also look into community transport solutions or carpooling initiatives promoted by the school. Additionally, schools could offer supervised before-school programs for students whose parents need to drop them off early.
Mr. Tanaka, many studies do suggest that students perform better academically with later start times. Are these potential improvements not important enough? to try and overcome the logistical difficulties?
Academic improvement is always a key goal, of course. However, we need to look closely at the extent of these gains from later starts alone. Many other factors influence how well students do in school, such as teaching quality and home environment. It's not always clear that changing start times is the most effective way to boost performance. The costs and disruption involved in tackling the logistical challenges are very real and substantial. We must weigh these costs against benefits. That might not be as large as some hope.
Ms. Chen, what about Mr. Tanaka's point that students might just stay up later if school starts later? How can we be sure that a later school start will actually mean more sleep for teenagers?
That's a common concern, but research on adolescent sleep patterns suggests it's not that simple. Teenagers' brains are wired to go to sleep later and wake up later. It's a biological shift. A later start time aligns better with this natural rhythm, so they are more likely to get the sleep they need. Of course, education on good sleep hygiene, like avoiding screens before bed, is also very important. There might be an initial adjustment period, but their natural body clocks should adapt to the new schedule.
Mr. Tanaka, if later start times are not the best solution in your view, what alternative ideas would you suggest to help with teenage sleep deprivation and its effect on their learning?
I believe we can do more within the current framework. We can focus on educating students and parents about healthy sleep habits and the importance of a consistent sleep schedule. Schools could also play a role in teaching time management skills to help students balance homework and other activities. Perhaps we need to look at the amount of homework given, ensuring it's manageable. Additionally, programs that help reduce stress and anxiety can also contribute to better sleep for students.
Thank you both. Ms. Chen, would you like to respond briefly to Mr. Tanaka's points on alternative solutions?
While those are all good suggestions, Mr. Tanaka, and helpful in their own right, they don't fully address the core biological issue of when teenagers are naturally ready to learn. Education on sleep hygiene is good, but it's hard to fight against a body clock that's telling you to stay awake. A later start time works with their biology, not against it, which I believe is more effective.
Mr. Tanaka, your response to Ms. Chen?
Ms. Chen, while the biology is a factor, we also live in a society with many interconnected schedules. Focusing only on one aspect, like the body clock, might ignore other important needs of families and communities. I believe a balanced approach, which includes education and better time management, can be very effective without causing widespread disruption. It's about empowering students to make good choices within the existing structures where possible.
Thank you. In closing, I want to stress again the significant benefits that later school start times can bring. We are talking about improving our students' physical health, their mental well-being, and their ability to succeed in school. The scientific evidence supporting later starts for adolescents is strong and growing. Teenagers are biologically different from younger children and adults in their sleep patterns. Forcing them into an early schedule means many are constantly tired, which affects everything they do. I understand that there are challenges. As Mr. Tanaka has pointed out, issues with transport, parents' work, and after-school activities are real concerns that need to be addressed. However, I believe these challenges are solvable if schools, families, and communities work together with careful planning. Many school districts have successfully made this change, and they have found ways to manage these issues. For example, some argue that after-school activities will suffer, but schedules can be adjusted, and perhaps some activities could even take place before school if the day starts later. Or we might find that students are more energetic and engaged in those activities when they are not sleep-deprived. Ultimately, we need to ask ourselves what our priority is. If our main goal is to support student development and create the best possible learning environment, then we must take the evidence on sleep seriously. Choosing later start times is a positive step towards putting our students' needs first.
Thank you. As we conclude, I want to emphasize the very real disruptions and complexities that changing school start times will create. This isn't just a small adjustment, it's a major change that affects many people: students, parents, teachers, and the wider community. We've discussed the impact on parents' work lives, the challenges for school transportation systems, and the effect on after-school programs. These are not minor inconveniences, they are significant issues that could negatively impact family life and community operations. While the goal of improving student sleep is important, we must be realistic about whether later start times are the magic solution. As I mentioned, there's a risk that students might simply shift their bedtimes later, meaning no actual increase in sleep. We also need to consider unintended consequences. For example, less time for family in the evenings if students get home later, or difficulties for students who have part-time jobs that they rely on. I believe we should focus on strategies that are perhaps less disruptive but still effective. This includes better education about sleep, managing homework loads, and providing support for student well-being within the current school day structure. These approaches can help students without requiring a complete overhaul of everyone's schedules. Therefore, I urge a cautious and holistic approach. We need to consider all the potential effects on everyone involved before making such a fundamental change. It's about finding balanced solutions that support students effectively.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chen and Mr. Tanaka, for sharing your different perspectives on this important topic. It's clear that there are strong arguments on both sides. Ms. Chen has highlighted the potential benefits for student health and learning based on adolescent sleep science. Mr. Tanaka has reminded us of the significant practical and logistical challenges that such a change would involve for the community. We hope this discussion has given our audience plenty to think about regarding school start times. Thank you for joining us today. Good morning.